All right. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining me today. Another episode of Navigating Consciousness. I think we're at number 20. Is that correct, John? Number
Yes.
20? Right on. Right on. That's great. So I have someone to work on today. So I'm going to get to that. She's very cool. Someone I've been working on for quite a while now, and has actually been um, in the work that we've done. We've actually changed, like things have changed. Not only for her individually as well as for myself, but collectively as well. There's been big movements from my perspective from the work that we've done. So it'd be interesting to see what we can do today. Um, I wanted to start just by kind of giving a real clear and concise explanation of the planetary movements that we are experiencing and have been experiencing since the sun went into Aquarius in January 20th. Um, so the sun and Pluto transited into Aquarius together, right? They both went into 0 degrees Aquarius together, which is very interesting. The United States, at the same time, with the sun and Pluto moving into Aquarius, was experiencing its Pluto return. Again, like very auspicious, right? A 248-year cycle. We are about to enter into eclipse season, so we're going to have a lunar eclipse. And I was talking about this before last week as well, but I really just wanted to give it the clarity that might be very helpful, so people understand what it is that we're going through and why this is so very important. It's like a more than a once in a lifetime thing. It's really like what I was saying before. It's not only that the United States is having a Pluto return, and we're going into this period of time, running up to 2027, and the mutation to the human form that's going to be taking place there, according to the human design prophecy. The movement of the background energy moving out of the cross of planning, moving into the cross of the sleeping phoenix. It cycles within cycles, and there's much larger cycles that were also being that are also coming to a close. 12,000-year cycles, 25,000-year cycles, etc. And you can see it in how the planets are moving. It's all very interesting. So the Sun and Pluto moving into Aquarius together, the United States having its Pluto return. Um, the eclipses that we're going to be having are going to be impacting North America specifically. So uh, the solar eclipse on April 8th is going to be moving across North America. It's going to start in Mexico on the Pacific coast, and it's going to go all the way to Newfoundland, the visible part of it, and and it's the last visible total solar eclipse that North America is going to experience until 2044. It's a very long time. It's also, as it happens, the exact amount of time that Pluto will be in Aquarius. So Pluto will be moving into Pisces in 2044. So this is all like anyone, you know, anyone can look at this and see that this is more than just like random chance. Um, this is an exclamation point. This is a um, it's a very, and I'm curious. I don't exactly know, what it is we're gonna be experiencing, but the the nodes, the north node and the south node, which dictate the lunar and solar eclipses, are they're in the 51 and the 57 respectively. The 51st gate that the south node is in is the gate of shock, and so we can expect that, shocks, shocks that are designed to wake us up, not me, uh, or anyone who's already kind of like aware of what's going on, but it's going to be a wake up call. And yeah, maybe it'll be financial, maybe it'll be something else. We'll see. The 57 that the north node is in is it's the gate of intuitive awareness. and specifically focused on survival, right? So the 57th gate being in the splenic center, it's very much about survival. The spleen is here to keep us safe, to keep us healthy, to keep us alive. And the 57th gate in the splenic center is being kept safe by the intuitive awareness. So the shocks are going to come. If you can rely on your intuitive awareness to see you through, then you'll be just fine. Obviously, there's, like what's happening in Haiti right now. I was talking about, another war, another front opening up, maybe Yemen, looking like that might be a thing, but Haiti might be a thing. I know they're going to be sending like an international, there's like the UN is going to be sending troops there. So we'll see what goes on there. It's not going to be the only place that has that kind of issue. And that issue from how it looks is going to be brought here, right? There's going to be a lot of migrants from Haiti, people trying to get out, and apparently they're sailing, right? There's like big barges kind of filled with people, taking off from Haiti and trying to cross the ocean to get to Florida or Louisiana, I guess. They're going to have to be dealt with, and they're going to bring problems, obviously. So after the eclipses are done, so after we go through that solar eclipse on April 8th, we get Pluto and Neptune both transiting into their new gates. Hey, Allison, good to see you. And I've talked about this before, but I just wanted to give it like the whole lineup. So Pluto's going to move into the 41st gate on April 12th. 41st gate is the start codon. It's the beginning. It's the new year, right? It's the start of a new cycle. Very auspicious that the Pluto return on the America body graph is in the 41. It's the start, right? It's the start of something, and whenever we start something new, we have to leave stuff behind. If you're moving from a cold climate to a warm climate, you're not going to need that winter coat, right? So you're going to leave it somewhere. Maybe you'll come back to it eventually, but you don't need it, so you're going to leave it behind. Neptune is going to move into the 25th gate, April 10th, so 2 days before. So you have two very impactful, very slow-moving planets, both moving into different gates after being in their respective gates for a number of years. Going to be spending, Pluto's going to be in the 41 for 5 years. Neptune's going to be in the 25 for almost 3. And that's again also, solar eclipse on the 8th, Neptune moves into the 25 on the 10th, and Pluto moves into the 41 on the 12th. These are all big deals. And again, when these slow-moving planets move into a new gate or a new sign, astrologically speaking, it's like it's the first time in a long time. So Pluto hasn't been in the 41 for 248 years. Neptune hasn't been in the 25 for 164 years, and so we're really moving into some new territory. We also have this conjunction between Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus, and that's going to be happening April 15th and 16th. The conjunction between Uranus and Jupiter, it happens every 12 years or so. So it's not like all that rare, but it's like, every 12 years, so we have this other thing happening. They're not going to be in the same sign. So, I don't know, it's been, I guess, something like 80 years or so since Uranus and Jupiter would have been conjunct in Taurus, or, 84 years or maybe more, because it takes Uranus 84 years to do a full cycle of the zodiac. And Uranus likes to shake things up. It likes the novelty. It likes to disrupt. It likes to put pressure on the old and make room for new. Um, Again, it's also Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, so we have that Aquarian energy again. This time in Taurus with Jupiter, and Taurus is kind of not like the opposite of that Aquarian energy, but it kind of, I mean, it's air and earth, right? So they can coexist, but they don't really mix, right? Um, so yeah, Uranus, the energy of Uranus getting amplified by the gravity of Jupiter, by the expansiveness of Jupiter in Taurus. So we can expect there to be a whole lot of shaking going on, right? So what does Taurus represent? Well, Taurus is Earth. It's the material plane. So financial systems, but also literally earthquakes, potentially. There's also a lot of planets in Pisces currently, which is, the ocean, like the waters. There was a whole stellium in there the other day when I was looking at it. So you had the Sun, you had Neptune, you had Saturn, you had Mercury. Mercury's moved into Aries. It's in early Aries now, but it was in Pisces up until a few days ago. And Mercury's going to go retrograde also in Aries in April. So April 15th or thereabouts, around the same time that Jupiter and Uranus are going to be doing their dance in Taurus. And I touched on this last week that we could see, some, because, Mercury's the messenger, right? It's language, but also, propaganda and all that, and Aries being about war. So we can see a real acceleration of that kind of vocabulary, right? And just being just guarding yourself against the messages that will be coming, that will want people to get kind of stirred up and ready to fight. I don't feel like the energy is really there. I don't feel like people have the fight in them anymore, and I think everyone feels like kind of worn out in a certain way and kind of just focused on their own stuff, which is exactly what should be happening as we move into the sleeping phoenix. It's like, yeah, who cares what the government wants? It's not important to me. It's just like, I just want to do this work. I want to do this podcast. I want to help the people that I can help, and be with my family, and go on hikes, and just do what I want. And I think a lot of people are very much there with me. And so, yeah, there will be messages, there will be propaganda, but I think it's going to fall pretty flat. And you can see it, even in the things that used to get people kind of excited, like the Super Bowl or the Oscars or these things. It's like it just doesn't carry, it just doesn't care. People watch it, obviously, but it's like nobody really cares. It's habit at this point. So yeah, so those are the major movements that are going to be taking place over the next few weeks. I can't stress it enough, how impactful this period is, and it's just one of those things. We're not going to know it until we're on the other side of it. Much like COVID, we didn't know how good we had it in 2019, or 2018 until we went through 2020. And it's going to, so this is going to be like that, but different. And yeah, maybe maybe there will be some attempts to, scare people or frighten people, or, get people to, not interact, to be scared, to be anxious, and all that. But I don't think even if they try, I don't think it's going to work. Just the energy just doesn't feel like the energy's there. Like there's no energy. That's kind of what it feels like to me. Like there's no energy. There's like kind of just enough to keep us going right now. And yeah, I suppose that's just how it is, how it has to be for whatever reason. Okay, well, so I got a text from a client, like what I was saying when I started here. I got a text from a client. She was asking me some questions. I thought, well, why don't I just work on her on the podcast today? And she's a 6'2" projector, so this is actually really perfect because From the human design perspective, there's like certain forms that kind of take priority. Okay, so in the seven-centered world in our past, right, when we were seven-centered beings, um, the 5-1 manifester was the profile that was sort of like top dog, and that particular type of format has sort of been retired. So they're still around and they still have some juice, but they can't do what they used to do because the energy doesn't really support them doing that. Post 2027, it's the 6-2 projector that's going to be the sort of dominant form, you know. And post 27, because the external authorities that used to give us structure are not going to be able to do that anymore. I mean, they're going to try, but it's not going to work, right? It's going to fall pretty flat. We're going to still need guidance, and it's the projectors that are going to be our guides. Projectors are pretty rare, right? It's only 20% of the population. And so the 66% of the, or 70% of the population that are generators are going to look to the projectors, the 20% of the population, for their guidance, ideally. And so this client of mine she's a 6-2 projector. So she's here, she's here, she's waiting for her time. And, but it's still a few years out. So she's, anxious and has a sense of foreboding, and doesn't quite know what to do with herself. She's a professional. She has a family. She's busy. There's things that she has to take care of. But she can't really get past this feeling of like something's not quite right. I'm sure that's a feeling a lot of us can really connect to. And she's also an emotional authority, so that emotional ride, the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys, are going to be a part of her anxiety as well. But anyway, I just thought, it's perfect. It's like, let's see what kind of guidance we can get from her. Let's work on it. Let's clear her field, and then benefit from what she can give us. So I'm just going to take a drink of water. So Allison's just saying, I know plenty of people who still believe, and then the message didn't complete. But I'm guessing you're saying there's lots of people who are still very, yeah, the government trusts them completely. What I would say, Allison, is that yes, they still do, because it's habit. It's the same reason why they watch the Super Bowl and the Oscars, even though it's like pretty clear that it's not. It's more entertainment, right? Like. I actually learned recently that the NFL is registered as an entertainment industry. They're not strictly speaking a sports organization. So meaning that I think they can get away with a certain amount of fixing because it's entertainment, right? It's not actually sport. Taylor Swift's dating this guy. And his team wins the Super Bowl, and like she's there, and it's like goes into overtime, and it's a story. It's a soap opera, and that's just it's pretty clear. And like, yeah, the Oscars don't matter. Hollywood doesn't really matter anymore. People still go to see movies because what else are you going to do? I still watch Netflix, right? It's like I'm at home, I'm tired. It's late at night with my wife and my daughter. Like we're going to watch something. Like that's fine, but it doesn't have, and boring. Yes, it doesn't have the same pull. It's like, I start like Oppenheimer. Won Best Picture, and I just know that because I heard people talking about it. I didn't watch. I couldn't finish that movie. I found it incredibly boring. It was like, what's the point of this even? So are they going to change? Are they going to go away? No, people are going to be what they are. We can have fireballs falling from the sky, and people will still try to get to their office and enter stuff into their spreadsheets or like whatever, right? It's just like, what else are they going to do? But it's just the ability to force people to do things, the ability to force their awareness into certain areas is just gone. I really, really don't see it anymore. Um, and yeah, and I mean, people are in really bad shape, like really, really bad shape. You know, like I was the same client. I was kind of talking to her about this. That I do get a sense that there is going to be a collapse of civil law, like that. That's in the not too distant future. There's going to be a period of time where like all bets are off, but our bodies are not going to handle that stress. It's like there was a time, right? We're in revolutionary energy. This is revolutionary energy. Uranus and Jupiter conjunct in Taurus. The Sun and Pluto moving into Aquarius. The solar eclipse. Like all this stuff. This is revolution. We are in a revolution right now. But it's so very different than any revolution that's happened before. And part of that is because our bodies our vitality is very low. Even people who are in really good shape, it's like no one's going to be able to manage this. So if we go into a period of civil disruption, it won't be very long because people just they won't be able to maintain it. They can't. And that's going to save us in a certain way. It's going to save us from the total destruction that would normally come with this kind of thing. Yeah, people just won't and can't, So it's just about riding that period out. It won't be long, maybe a few weeks max, maybe in the next year or so. I don't know. I'll let you all know as I know more. Okay. Yeah. So the first thing that I'm going to work on for this client, I'm not going to use her name, but she is a disruptor. It's part of her design to leave the old behind and embrace what's new. Uh, Not on face value. It still has to make sense. It still has to be like, yes, I see why I would want this. It's not like, oh, this is new, so let's do that, right? It's not like that kind of energy, but that is what she's here for, and that's a disruptive kind of energy that she has, and that's going to also, the thing with having a second line in your profile. So her design Sun Earth is in the second line. The second lines in general, so anyone who has a second line anywhere in their body graph, any planet in any gate that has a second line, you're here for the call, right? It's the hermit. So the second line is always trying to get away, always trying to find their own space, like not be noticed, but they're going to be noticed, and they're going to be called, So the second line hermits are always looking to get away from it all, and every time they try and get away from it all, someone asks them to help them with something, or they are continually getting called out. And so there's something about that combination of being a disruptor and being a hermit, wanting to just not be noticed, like not be recognized, but there's no way that she can't be noticed, and there's no way that she can't be recognized because she's got that second line, because she's a projector. People are going to notice her. She's different. There's something in her past that relates to her authority, not her emotional authority, but like the authority, her authority, which when I look at her design, I'm looking at the 26th gate, the 26 gates in the heart. The 26th gate is the taming power of the great, the 26th gate is it's a lot, there's a lot of willpower. There's a lot of willpower there. And it's the will to be recognized, I have quite a few activations in that. So, anyone born in 1980, late 79 through 80, into early 81, going to have Neptune in the 26th gate, at least on one side, design or personality. And with Neptune in the 26th gate, and this is the time period she was born in, it's the time period I was also born in. With Neptune in the 26th gate, one's authority gets veiled, right? It's like Neptune veils, Neptune hides, Neptune makes things mysterious. It makes it hard to see exactly what's there. And like what I've said before, right now Neptune's in the 36th gate. It's the gate of crisis. So it's been there for years, almost 3 years at this point. So it's like we don't even know. We all know there's something going on, but we don't even know what it is. We're about to find out, and that very soon, and that will be very interesting. But so she's got the 26th gate, but she's got Neptune in the 26th gate, so her authority is veiled. It's hard to see. She can use, and that's kind of the thing too. It's like that kind of works for her in a certain way. It's like, okay, good. I don't need to use this willpower to force anything on anybody. That's great, but then it's sort of like, well, you kind of still have to, but it's going to be, people aren't going to see it at first. They're going to wonder why it is you're doing what you're doing when you have Neptune wherever you have Neptune. That is what people are going to wonder, like, why are you doing that? And Neptune's sort of a generational energy. So again, like anyone in that cohort, late 79 through early 81 has Neptune in the 26 somewhere, personality or design or both. And so it's a very disempowered cohort. It's a group of people as a collective who are here to do great things, to be great leaders, to have a tremendous amount of willpower that can be applied to the things that they want, but they won't be recognized. Won't be recognized for it. Won't be given the opportunity. And yes, that's true. But it's also like at some point we didn't get it, so we have to give it to ourselves. Like we have to make it very clear why we're an authority. We have to make it very clear why we're someone who needs to be listened to, someone who needs to be respected. And we can only do that by becoming very visible, right? Stepping out from behind the veil, right? Getting in front. This woman wants to hide. Neptune's giving her that chance, but she can't anymore. She needs to step in front. And there's something about that that's very disruptive. Disruptive for her. It's like she doesn't feel safe, doesn't feel secure, doesn't know if she can. She's got an open heart, so there's also that thing where it's not super consistent necessarily. That sense that she has greatness in her that wants to come out. It will be there when her heart is defined by someone or something else, but when that's the case, it's always kind of like about the other person. She's also a projector. She's also got the 6-2, the left angle profile, so it's a transpersonal profile. So her process has a lot to do about other people. As a generator with a right angle profile, my process is very self-absorbed. It's really just about me, and other people don't matter too much. It's like I can take it or leave it. For her, it's very different. Other people matter tremendously, and so that's kind of the thing. It's like when other people matter and to your process, and you in your core that you won't be able to get anything done without other people being a part of it with you. You might experience, and you have an open heart center, you might feel a lot of pressure to be small, to not disrupt, to not interfere, to not like potentially anger people, to make it so that you're as well liked as possible, so that there's always people around who can, define that sacral center, who can, play out the karma that she's here to play out, because the left angle profiles are all about karma, playing out the karma that they're here to play out with the people who they're here to play that karma out with. And it's all bullshit. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. It's like, it's all just mind, right? It's just her mind telling her this is how you do it. And and the body, the body suffers as a consequence. And other people suffer because they're not getting the fullness of her greatness. She's great. She's a great woman. Um, Not in the like traditional sense. I mean, I don't know if she cooks and cleans, I'm not saying that, but it's like, yeah, she's got something. She's got something like to do here, and it's not coming forward because her heart center is open. Neptune's hanging on that 26th gate, veiling her greatness. Her ability to externalize that authority, to be someone who's listened to be someone who's recognized as a guide, and that there's value in that position. There she is. You are. I'm sure you're a great cook, Monica. Thank you for being here. Um, okay, so the thing is, wherever we're open to conditioning. Okay, and we can't not be conditioned. So we have to be really choosy about what we get conditioned by. There's been a lifetime, for most of us, a lifetime of conditioning where we've had no choice. We've been put in schools, we've been put in churches, we've been put in, clothing that other people chose for us. Hairstyles were chosen, right? It's like, you can watch this, you can't watch that, you need to go to bed now, you need to eat this before you can have that. It's like all just, and it's not that they were doing it, it's not that they knew what they were doing, right? Because it's just, they were just repeating what was done to them. I'm talking about our parents, talking about our grandparents, I'm talking about all the authority figures that we all kind of grew up with. And they were, they read their Dr. Spock, and Dr. Spock said that, you can't show too much affection. So, let them cry it out. It's like, holy jeez. So anyway, yeah, we can just release all that. So yeah, Monica, we're just gonna clear your heart out here. And there's a good amount of sadness, and it's sadness that's not yours. It's again, it's just sadness that you were conditioned by other people's failures. Other people with open hearts trying, because when you have an undefined heart, you're going to try to prove yourself, right? That's how this works. And so you have all these people who have open hearts who don't have the 26, who are trying to show how great they are. I'm getting some real deja vu here. And they fail, and then they're mocked, they're mocked for their failure, and people revel in that failure. It's like, yeah, they thought they were great. Look what happened. Now dude sleeping in his car. What a dumbass, right? So it's like, yeah, people, people with open hearts, people with undefined hearts, they can be quite cruel and quite petty. And so it's like all that cruelty and all that pettiness and all that desire to see people fall on their face, because then you get elevated, right? If someone fails, then it's that much easier to prove your value, right? Relative to this person, I'm doing great, and that's what the whole thing is with the open heart and the not self and the mind, and how that all plays out. And that's all been put in her. That's all been put in her open heart. So we're just going to clear all that out. And it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing to see people celebrate other people's failures, because it elevates them, by extension. Yeah. Okay, so once we remove all that, we are going to want to do what's called a defragmentation. So it's just like defragmenting a hard drive. I don't know if people still do that with like solid state hard drives, but back in my day, you had to defragment your hard drive periodically, and just making sure all the right files are in the right folders, and there's no like little pieces of old programs still kind of running around causing corruption. So yeah, it's doing a big repair and a organization of all the data that is left after we remove, uninstall essentially all this programming, all this conditioning. Should take about 4 days. Yeah. And, Monica, I really like that. Like, I'm a great cook, right? That's the thing. It's like, yeah, where are you great, right? That's the 26th gate. You're great. You're great where you're great, and you don't need to be great where you're not. right? And that's the thing that you can start showing and start sort of stepping into. Uh, there's something that I'm going to do here that has to do with projectors in general, which again is 20% of the population, and that's adults and children. So the projector children who are still kind of developing, this doesn't really apply to them as such. Um, but if the projectors are to play the role that they're going to play, they have to be ready. They have to be ready to step into that power, right, and take it and like do something useful with it. And I don't see a lot of projectors in that place. And I think we can't wait for the vacuum. Like we can't wait until there's no authority for the projectors to kind of step in and be like, okay, we're here to guide now. It's like that's too late. It kind of needs to happen before. It needs to be. Well, it doesn't need to be. It's going to go better if it's a smoother transition. If the system that's going to come in to replace the old is already ready and just like slides right in there, and that system is going to be structured around projectors and their guidance and who they're here to guide. And Monica is a 6'2" projector. She's like a perfect kind of archetype of that. She is the future, literally. And her incarnation cross also speaks of that, of being moving always into the future, leaving the old behind, embracing the new. So she's a great archetype to do this work through. And and so I'm just kind of putting her, right, that 26 gate, that it's not like the queen, the queen's like the 45, but the 26, there is like a monarch kind of quality to it. Someone who does enjoy the finer things and doesn't really want to work for them necessarily, but they don't have to. It's just yeah, of course I'm going to have a nice car, and of course I'm going to have nice clothes, and of course I like nice things, and so that's the frequency. And that's kind of the thing. It's like, we're moving into the sleeping phoenix. The 55th gate is like the primary gate. 55th gate's the gate of abundance. It's we're gonna have access. Some, not everyone, but it will be available. This abundance, either on the material or abundance of the spirit. You need both. And so it's just like Monica has this design. It's not something she has to do. It's just what she is, and we're going to build a system around her design that is the ideal reflection of the system that is going to be coming in 2027. That's going to replace what gets broken down between here and there, and they're not going to mix, right? So the what's new is going to wait until the time is correct. We have to wait for the old system to degrade a little bit more, before we can be shown what it is that's going to be new. So we have time. There's no rush. Monica also has emotional authority, so that's also a thing. There's no rush, when that's how you're designed. When you have emotional authority, you're designed to take your time. So the development of this system that Monica is like the archetype for, it's going to take its time. There's no rush. Not too long, because we do need to get going. But yeah, it will move forward at the right pace. Okay, good. All right, we're gonna let that settle. Okay, Allison, I thought I knew about karma. Well, Allison, I mean, the thing is, you're not here for karma because you're a right angle. So I don't think you need to even concern yourself with it. It's not really important to you. It's really just like, yeah, obviously, your children are, there's karma there. It's like they didn't, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but whatever. It's like you didn't choose, right? It's like you had a baby, this is the baby. What they are is what they are, and that's karma. In a certain ways, it's like something you don't really have any choice in, and you just have to deal with. But Allison, as you've already found out, none of these bonds are permanent, right? It's like, yeah, they'll change, and especially as a right angle being, they're going to change, because you want them to. If you're not satisfied with the kind of relationship you have with someone, then you can change it. You're not forced into anything, unlike the left angles who are literally like have to. The relationship is what it is, and they have to do it as it is. And yeah, it's just that same thing, Allison. It's like if you don't know what it means, then just don't worry about it. Like it's not for you then. We all get a lot of messages. We all get told, like, we're inundated with so much information. Most of it doesn't matter, and we don't need to pay attention to it. And the best way to know if you want to pay attention to something or not, or accept something or not, is like, yeah, how do you, does it make sense? No, then forget it. Like it will, if you need it, it will be there when you need it. But if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. And if it doesn't resonate, it's not for you. It's not for you right now, maybe in the future. But you don't have emotional authority. So it's really about what resonates for you now is just all that matters. Like you don't, yeah. Okay, good stuff. All right, there's something else that I'm supposed to do here before I can close this out. No. Well, I guess what I can talk about is something that's developing here in Sedona, and my producer John, who's got this Humankind Center, and he has a real vision, and it's a very cool vision, and it's one that's going to work very well with how this energy is moving forward. And he recently purchased a healing center called Sedona Photon Light. Is that the Sedona Photon Light Center?
It's just Sedona Photon Light.
Sedona Photon Light, and there's this really cool machine in it, and it's a light machine. You get bathed with all these different light frequencies, and there's heat, so you sweat, and I had my first experience with it a couple days ago, and it was awesome. I really really enjoyed it. I felt really really good, and I'm going to be a part of that of this center. I'm going to be doing my work there as well as some of the other like administrative type stuff, and it's all very exciting. So if anyone watching is going to be in the Sedona area and wants to go experience this thing, I would highly recommend checking us out. And yeah, that's my plug. All right. Okay. Thanks everyone. Thank you, Monica. That was great. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Allison, for showing up as per usual. I appreciate your energy so much. And I wish you all the best. See you next week.